Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humankind, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. All which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you. My apologies. Okay, thank you. One?
Yes, one.
Oh.
Simon Peter, Principal Systems Administrator.
What is Tebaneko? Tebanko, that's his name.
Yes, Simon Peter, the Principal Systems Administrator. Parliament of Uganda. He's on a principal visit.
Okay, and one man band. So that's the announcement.
Yes, this is the announcement.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, honorable senators and ministers. I have an announcement. I wish to recognize the presence in the President of the Senate's gallery of Tebanko, Mr. Tebanko Simon Peter, the Principal Systems Administrator from the Parliament of Uganda, who is on a benchmark visit to the Parliament of Zimbabwe. You are most welcome, sir. Are there any notices of motions? Honorable Zindi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to give notice that on September 1, 2026, I shall move that this House considers and adopts the report of the Thematic Committee on Peace and Security on Energy Security in Zimbabwe. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Zindi. Any further notices of motions? If there are no further notices of motions, we go to the next stage, which is questions without notice. Today being a Thursday, and in accordance with the Senate standing orders. I do have, before we do that, I have got with me here a list of honorable ministers who have tendered apologies, and it is as follows. The Honorable CGDN General, Retired General Dr. Chiwenga, the Vice President, Honorable Retired Colonel KCD Mukhadi, the Honorable, that's the Vice President, the Honorable B. Rodzi, Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, Honorable Professor Dr. Murwiram, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Soda, Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Honorable Shawa, Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Honorable Haritatos, Minister of Lands, Rural Development, Honorable Jesiah, the Deputy Minister of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Honorable Sanyatwe, the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable Marupi, the Deputy Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Honorable F. Moyo, Deputy Minister of Mines and Mining Development, Honorable Zhou, the Deputy Minister of Lands and Rural Development. In the Senate today, I would like to welcome Honorable Mona, Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development, Honorable Ziambi, Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable T. Moyo, the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Honorable Makwira Nzou, the Deputy Minister of Mines and Mining Development. Questions without notice. Please switch off your phones or put them on silent. I have got Honorable Zindi, Honorable Moyo, Honorable, that's Honorable Kupfuma, yes. Honorable Mwe, Honorable, can you speak up, please? Mu? Aongwena, the crocodile. In that order, but before I do that, I want to apologize to Honorable Tawengo. It was not intentional. I would like to recognize the presence of Honorable Tawengo. We start with Honorable Zindi.
Mazvita mbati wechigaro. Mubvunzo wangu uri kuenda kuna Deputy Minister vezvicherwa zvepasi kana kuti upfumi hwepasi Honorable Nzou, Makwira Nzou, sorry. Ndaida kuti ndibvunze kuti urongwa huripo nebazi rawo ndehupi. Takatarisa nenyaya iri kuramba ichienderera mberi yekucherwa kwegomo reChristmas pass, vachitsvaga vari kuchera vachona vari kuchera ndarama. Takambobvunza mubvunzo uyu vachiti zvichamiswa nekuti vagari venzvimbo vari muzasi megomo reChristmas pass vakutya kuti kana kukaita mvura inenge yechivhuramahwe cheidai, cyclone idai, 20 meters deep dzacherwa mugero ndofunga wakudarika kana 5 to 10 kilometers, ukazara nemvura ichierera kubva mugomo, inogona kutushuka yogeza dzimba dzese dziri muzasi megomo nechikoro chinonzi Hillcrest chinova primary secondary education. Ndehupi urongwa hwekuti zvakadaro zvimiswe Mazvita?
Thank you, Honorable Zindi. Honorable Minister.
Ndinotenda Senate President. Ndichitenda Honorable Zindi nemubvunzo wawandibvunza uyu. Zvedi mubvunzo iwoyu wakambobvunzwa. Ndokubva tatumira mainspector edu kuti vanotarisa kuti zvine ngozi here zviri kuitwa. Ngozi panga pasina, asi changa chiripo ndechekuti pari kuitwa hip leaching. Hip leaching hatibvumi muno. Saka takaishuwa matsamba tichimisa zvese izvozvo. Asi sezvo seneta vandibvunza zvakare, ini ndiri kutofunga kuti zvakaitwa, regai ndidzokerere futi ndinotarisa. Asi instruction takatapa kuti pasaitwe zvekutaurwa naseneta izvozvo, hip leaching nekucherwa kwemakomba ari kutosvika kana kuma 20 meters. Ndinotenda Senate President.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Mazvita nekundipa mukana wechipiri. Ndakuda kunzwawo kubva kuna minister kuti zvinombofamba sei uye danho rinofanira kutorwa kana vanhu vachinge vadzidzwa zviri pamutemo kuti zvamuri kuita izvi muri kudambura mutemo, asi vanhu voramba vachienderera mberi sekutaura kuno kwatiri kutoita mudare munomu, vari kutochera. Izvi ndichida kuzvifananidza zvakare nevaya vari kuchera muno muMarlborough, kuti vari kuchera mudhorobha asi zvinonzi vakamiswa kuti musachera, asi vari kuramba vachienderera mberi. Zvinombofamba sei? Mazvita.
Honorable Minister.
Ndinotenda Senate President. Zvinoitika ndezvekuti kana tatumira mainspector edu kune kwamuka dambudziko seiri, vanobva vangonzi vamise, vobva vasiya vataurira mapurisa kuti tamisa kucherwa pano, ende tavamisira nemhaka kuti nemhaka yekuti. Saka izvozvo ndosaka ndati inini ndakapa instruction. Saka chasara ndechekuti sezvo minista vari kuti zvichiri kuitika, regai nditodzoka. Mukana wacho ndewekutoti tinofanira kutoti mapurisa vaende ikoko. Asi ndinoda kutaurirawo Senate Zindi kuti kazhinji kacho tinosenza neEMA. EMA takatoitaurira vakaendawo ikoko. Saka regai tivataurirewo zvokuti aiwa zvamuka zvekare vanhu vaya vandofunga vakazodzoka havana kuteerera. Saka tichaenda neEMA nemapurisa. Ndingangoda kutaura Senate President nekuti Senators ndivasimudza nyaya yekuMarlborough. Nyaya yekuMarlborough takaifambira permanent secretary wangu nemumwe wangu deputy minister vakaenda ikoko vachinotarisa. Zvedi vakaona kuti kuri kutocherwa. Isisu iyoyo tinoiti urban mining. Hatibvumidze urban mining unless yatobvumidzwa local authority. Saka tikaenda zvekare nemapurisa. Mapurisa ndo vatatongomirira kuti vaone zveshuwa kuti hapasi kucherwa. Ndatenda Senate President.
Okay. Minister, dai mukamisa zvinhu zvakadarozvo. Ndifunga kuti zvinoti pachimiro chakanaka vanhu kuchera zvicherwa muguta. Kwete. Two more honorable ministers have joined the chamber. Honorable Garwe, the Minister of Local Government and Public Works. Welcome, Minister, as well as Minister M. Mavunga, the Minister of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs. Welcome, Honorable Minister. Next on my list, I've got the Honorable Senator Moyo.
Ngiyabonga President wedala eliphezulu. Umbuzo wami uzaya ku Minister wezokuthutha engu-Minister of Transport. Sonke isikhathi uMinister ubefika lapha simchayela izandla sinanzelela ukuthi umsebenzi owenzayo khanya ngani umsebenzi omuhle. Umbuzo wami ukuthi Minister sesibona kathesi ngasinanzelela ikakhulu imigwaqo emikhulu abathi ngama highway asefile ukufakwawo ngendaba yamatraka njalo sibona babhizi bazama ukupheja njengabantu abagambela iBhurugwe indawo lokifile. Sicela bakwazi ukuthi njengelizwe elikhulu kangaka imigwaqo emikhulu leyo sizayilungisa ngayiphi indlela. Njalo sinanzelele emathebelendi kule independent imigwaqo ibilungiswa kubo Plumtree eMatopo kodwa manje kuhlela kusalungiswa kwasale endleleni. Ngaba kukhathazwa yini Minister?
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me also thank Honorable Senator Moyo for that very important question, which I do concur that yes, some projects had stalled, and I'm glad to say in particular the Matobo section that he was talking about. I'm glad to say that we've resumed works in some sections and will be full throttle just in the near coming weeks. All contractors will have mobilized. And he has raised a very pertinent question pertaining to the overloads, trucks damaging our roads, which is again an appeal, especially to the mining communities, where Mr. President said that instead of complying, some of the mining companies have resorted to travel during midnight so that they actually avoid our usual checkpoints. But we've upped our game again in the ministry, where we are also going to be having shifts for our VID officers so that we man our roads 24/7. But this is contrary to the good practice, Mr. President, where we anticipate and expect transporters to comply with the required quantities whenever they use our roads. And the ideal and long term is we are going to mandate those trucks, especially those mining companies, so that they transport their goods through railway line. And in that regard, we are also inviting the private sector to partake in the exercise of making sure that we have the rolling stock on our railway line so that we transport our goods through railway line. Therefore, would then lessen the burden from our roads and to the railway line. And I'm happy that once again, not only the Matabeleland roads that he has talked about, but countrywide on some of the projects that were stalled, it's also good to apprise this very august house that we now have a framework for funding our infrastructure, which has been approved, and I want to thank the Second Republic under the wise leadership of His Excellency Comrade Dr. Masonda Mnangagwa, that we now have a framework of funding our roads besides the fiscus. Where we're waiting for budget, it will take time, and we know our road network. But now we've got an infrastructure funding model in place, and coming 1 week or 2 weeks, we'll be tapping into that fund where we've mobilized funding through banks, and we'll be funding those stalled projects. So you will see a change, especially in those projects that were stalled, where we are going to accelerate again road rehabilitation programs. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Supplementary, Honorable Mlojkwa.
Thank you, Mr. President. My supplementary, Mr. President, will be Still on the roads, and we realize that the roads that have been completed are deteriorating. What measures is the minister using to hold contractors accountable for the substandard work that would have been done? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President, and let me also thank Honorable Senator Mlocho that in the National Assembly I once raised this same. Responded to a similar question where I was saying, I think with the preview of this again at this Augusta House, it is also important that we take through, honorable members, through how road construction is done, because we have got a certain numbers of us, especially in this Augusta House, where at times if a road is done overseal, it's like it's a new road. And overseals, just like we are laying a tar on top of an existing structure. So you find that in some cases, potholes are prone to actually come out on sections that are weak. And when we talk of road reconstruction, it means reconstructing a road from scratch, or it could be an earth road. So those categories are very important, so that whenever you see a road deteriorating, you must tell, if it's a new road, it's supposed to last for 20 years. What you then need to do is routine maintenance after every 5 years. But a resale, it means the road in some sections, it will be weak, and you see potholes mushrooming. So to a lay person, it's like it's shoddy work. So it's also very important. But to answer a question, Honorable Madam Senator, it's also good we take our contractors to account that there is a defects liability clause in our contracts, so that if it's if actually deteriorates before the agreed time, you are supposed to redo the work. And in most cases where you see contractors starting to do the work, we don't pay until we certify that the work has been done. So this is to allay your fears that at times we pay and then we have to follow the contractor. It's the other way around. If you see shoddy work being done, the contractor is not paid until we are certified that works have been done accordingly. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Another minister has joined us. That's Honorable Kazembe, the Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage. You are welcome, Minister. Next on my list is...
Another follow-up, Mr. President. Sorry.
Is she a supplementary? Yeah.
Mr. President, for allowing me to join this debate on roads. There was a day I was traveling from Bulawayo to Victoria Falls. And on the road just after Wange town, there were 12 30-ton lorries after the bumper to bumper, moving on the newly constructed road from Wange to Victoria Falls. Are we sure, Minister, that these lorries are 30 tons? Because the way I looked at them, they were carrying lithium. I don't know what type of lithium it was from dead. 12. I suspected that these were not 30 tons on the road. There could have been 50 or more tons on those lorries. Why are we not having weigh bridges on these roads so that we know exactly what is moving on our roads? To come up with the new railway system may take time, but I think coming up with weigh bridges, particularly on sections where we know heavy trucks will travel, I think it will help us to maintain our roads in a good state. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me also thank Honorable Senator.
Please switch off your mic. Please carry on, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. And also to thank Honorable Senator Gotora. I'm sure, like what I alluded to earlier on, that yes, it calls for the whole of society again and the moral standing, where at times indicated that, especially along that corridor, where truckers had resorted to move during awkward times. But we have a way bridge at Wange, where we were manning, but now we just need to make sure that it's manned 24/7. But in addition to that, Mr. President, we are adding more way bridges. And we've already tendered, we've awarded, and you see new way bridges along very strategic sections of our roads, and we'll be having those so that we address such concerns as raised by Honorable Senator Gutura. And in some cases, the infrastructure, the railway line is there already, so it's again to appeal to the mining communities to say, let's then divert our traffic to the railway line. And in some cases, it's deliberate, Mr. President, say, where people have got their own reasons of not wanting to divert traffic to the railway line. And in terms of doing business, some companies were owning those trucks, making sure that they carry excess loads on those trucks, bypassing some of the banned sections. But we are addressing some of these concerns. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Also joining the chamber is the Deputy Minister of Energy and Power Development, Honorable Simbane Gawi. Welcome, Minister. Next on my list is Senator Fuma.
Ndinotenda Mr. President. Inini wangu mubvunzo uri kunanga kuna Minister Mona. Ndinoimba ndakambobvunza zvakare nezveNRZ. Ndakubvunza zvakare kechitu. Washandi weNRZ vane time wasikuwana mihoro. Ndinoimba kubva muna October last year kusvika maybe zit May wakahora kamwe chete. Ende pawanohora ukatarisa mari dzinohorwa nevanhu ivavo ishoma shoma. Zvakamboitika futi kumashure uko toti kuma 2010 tichiuya kuzosvika kuma chazuti 2022 here kuti 2020 vanhu vanga vasingapiwe mari, vaipiwa mari after 3 months. Wapiwa after 3 months waipiwa half salary. Pakazoti pakauya futi mabond, wabva wati instead yekupa vanhu mari dzavo dzanga dziri dzekumashure vachireta, I don't know kuti vakazvifambisa sei, vakapa vanhu 40,000 bonds. Mari yanga isingambokwani kana kuti inosvika pavalue yekuti pamari dzavaifanira kudzoserwa dzaifanira kutenga kana stands, kana kuti munhu ainge akatenga stand aifanira kudevelopa ichitopera, but vakapiwa mari yanga isingambokwani kutenga kana 50 bags dzecement. Izvezvi zvatanga futi havasi kutambira. Vanhu vakatombova nehope papakanzi general manager anga aripo abva, papinda mumene mukadzi akaiswa nguva yapera. Mukadzi vanhu vachivimbiswa vachinzi musastrike, munhu ari kuuya munyowani ari kumirira kupiwa mari nehurumende, kana apo munyowani mozopiwa mari dzenyu. Kumashure uko vamwe vanhu vakasiya mabasa vakanyepera kunzi vachazowedzerwa mari kana vava vashoma, but zviri kuramba zvichienderera. Saka ndiri kutiwo kuna minista, ndezvipewo zvamuri kuita seministiri kuona kuti shuwa washanda havapiwo mari dzavo, nekuti chokwadi zvinhu zvakaoma kuti murume mukuru anobuda mumba achienda kubasa but achingouya mwedzi nemwedzi asina kana chekuratidza kumhuri yake.
Mazvita Honorable, munadzidzawo kubvunza mubvunzo muchidimbu, kwete kuita kare hako dzepfunde kwaiwapo kusvika uko. Honorable Minister.
Ndinotenda vanoremekedzwa mutungamiri wedare reSenate. Ndinotenda zvakare vanoremekedzwa Honorable Senator nemubvunzo wavo vabvunza wakakosha uyezve unosuwisa. Mutemo wehurumende unoti munhu wese anoshanda anofanira kuripirwa. Saka ndo chekutanga. kana asina kuripirwa vanenge vaine kuwirirana kuti anozoripirwa zvarini. Asi vasimudza nhau yeNRZ yandirofunga kuti ndikakupai mhinduro kuti sei vasati vapedzera ivo vari kuziva nemwedzi isati yabhadharwa vanhu. Zvakanaka sei kuti tikava nekutsvakurudza kuti mwedzi yavangu vari kutaura kuti yakawanda zvakadini, uyezve munoziva kuti isu sebandiko reMinistry of Transport nekuda kwekuuya kwakaita Mutapa Investment ndo yakuona nezuva remafambiro anoita bandiko reNRZ, isu teichinyanya kuwanikwa kunyaya yepolisi. Kana iri polisi teichirowedzera kuti vanhu vabhadharwe ndo pateiita kuperera. Asi seizvozvo tinoenda kunotsvakurudza kuti kana iri nhau yemari tonzwa kuti chikonzero chii, asi mutemo hurumende one kuti vanhu vanofanira kunge vachiripirwa mari dzavo. Ndinotenda.
Mavita, the Honorable Senator Mackenzie Ngube.
Thank you, Mr. President. My question is directed to the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education. Honorable Minister, in terms of heritage-based education 5.0, what aspects of it are pertinent to youth empowerment and employment creation? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Senate President. I wish to thank the Honorable Member, Honorable Senator Mackenzie Ngube, for such a pertinent question. His question is on youth empowerment and employment creation. Mr. President, we are implementing the heritage-based curriculum under 5.0 module of philosophy. So the 5 pillars, Honorable Senate President, are teaching, research, contribution to community development, innovation, and industrialization. We are inculcating values as well as skills in our learners so that they are able to solve societal challenges. They should have critical thinking skills. They should think outside the box without that box. Our learners are supposed to address any challenges that they meet in their schools, in their villages, in rural areas, in urban areas. One of the major aspects of the heritage-based curriculum is the issue of TVET, Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Mr. Speaker, sir, where we inculcate life skills. We want all our schools to implement TVET so that learners are equipped with life skills such as electrical engineering, motor mechanics, civil engineering, bricklaying, carpentry, and many other skills. We have a number of schools that are already implementing TVET. We now have primary schools that are now technical schools. A good example is Kureza Technical Government Primary School, where learners at a very youthful age are equipped with these competencies. We have students at a high school in Bulawayo, St. Columbus, where learners from Form 1, they study motor mechanics. By the time they get to Form 2, Form 3, they are able to fix motor mechanical challenges. And motorists who do not prefer to go to well-established, garages. They go to school, to a high school, because the prices are low. We have a number of schools doing computer engineering. Students write lexical exams in Form 2. Electrical engineering, go to Fletcher. Girls in Form 2, they write electrical engineering programs. By the time they are in Form 3, they are already Class 2, Class 3 holders of electrical engineering certificates. Any electrical challenges that are faced in their homes, in their schools, they are able to fix them. So education is important. That is why our President, Comrade Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, said education that does not produce goods and services for our people is useless. And that is why Nelson Mandela had to say education is the most powerful weapon that can change our communities. That is why we have aligned the heritage-based curriculum with the national trajectory, the national vision of the President of having an empowered upper middle income status by 2030. And to achieve that, that can be attained through education. And learners who finish A-level may not decide to go to university, may decide will be self-equipped. They will be self-employed. You can look at somebody who is a Class 2 motor mechanics, Class 1 electrical engineer. That person becomes self-employed and may not want to seek employment. That's the relevance of education. That is why we are saying, that is why the African Union Commission on Education has recommended that in 2027, the rest of Africa should follow the footsteps of Zimbabwe of having the heritage-based curriculum. I submit, Honorable Senate President.
Supplementary.
Supplementary, Senator Mzerengi.
Ndinoda kutenda Minister nekupindura nekutsanangura. Asi ndiri kuda kuti Minister zvakanaka chaizvo zvatanzwa muchitsanangura. Asi muri kutarisawo here mukaha uripo pakati pevana vari muzvikoro zviri mumaruwa nevana vari muzvikoro zviri mumaguta, nokuti izvozvizvi mukaenda kumaruwa munowana kuti pachikoro chimwe chakuti vana kana vakagara vanoona panze ndezvekare zvikoro izvozvo. Wowanikwa zvekuti ikoko hakusi kusvika magetsi. Zvazvinoreva ndezvekuti zvirongwa zvese zvamuri kutaura ikoko zvinogona kutadza kusvika. Saka zvirongwa zvamunazvo zvokuti mukaha uripo uyu nevana vari kubhinga kana vari kumudzi kana vari kuchikombedzi vagogonawo kusangana nemukana wakuwanikwa nevamwe, kuitira kuti nako kuita madhokuta namapilots varege kuwandira divi rimwe. Zvirongwa zvipi zvamunazvo Minister? Tatenda Mr. President.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Ndinokutendai mubati wechigaro. Ndichitenda Honorable Senator Mzerengi.
Honorable Senator Mzerengi. Thank you.
Ndichitenda Honorable Senator Mzerengi nemubvunzo wavasimudza wokuwedzera. Baba vaMnangagwa vanozikanwa nemashoko ekuti hakuna dunhu kana munhu anofanira kusara kumashure. Uongo mukaha wanga uriko wekuti vana vekumadhorobha vanga vari pari nani pakuwana zvinhu zvekushandisa zvekudzidza nazvo, vari kumaruwa vachisarira kumashure. Kutaura kwandiri kudayo mubati wechigaro, tine zvinhu zvakawanda zvatiri kuita kuti mukaha iwoyo uvharike. Chekutanga, toda kutenda mukuru wenyika vakatipa ma-Starlink kits 8,000. Muno munyika tine zvikoro 11,700. Kureva kuti 8,000 ndo zvataisa kuzvikoro zvanga zvisina kukonektiwa kuwifi. Zvanga zvine wifi 3,500. Tikaedha 8,000 tinoona kuti tinenge taane 11,500. Kureva kuti patinosvika kuna December gore rino hakuna chikoro chemuno munyika chinenge chisina wifi, chinenge chisina magetsi ezuva, chinenge chisina magetsi national grid. Tichienda mberi mubati wechigaro, takasaina MOU ndobva takurudzira vano ma-MP ese nyika yese hazvina basa kuti bato ripi. Tikati iko kuya kune zvikoro zvakasaririra tipei mazita azvo. Kutaura kudaiwo mubato wechigaro ndaane list ine zvikoro 1,100. Isusu tiri kutageta kuvandudza zvikoro 1,350. Kureva kuti kana kuine dzimwe nzvimbo kuMarsh East kana kunzvimbo dzataurwa naSenator Muzverengi dzakasarira kumashure, kana kuchine zvikoro zvemapango, tipei zvikoro izvozvo. Mari yatinayo iyi yakawandisa yekuti tine mari yakawandisa yekuti patinosvika next year kune kusina chinonzi satellite school. Tine mari yakawanda zvekuti chinonzi satellite school kwekuteta dzima kune kusina chikoro chinenge chinzi hachina magetsi, tinoisa ezuva, toisa mubato wechigaro tine yatingati pachirungu ambitious program. Tiri kutarisira kuti mwana wega wega tichamutengera laptop netablet, toisa ma-innovation hubs. Mari yacho itoripo mubato wechigaro. Saka zvemukaha zviya zvaive zvekumashure kwatakuendawo kuti takutaura zvinhu zvekuvaka nyika yekwedu. Nyika inovakwa nevene vayo. Ndatenda.
Supplement, follow-up question.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I hope those ambitions and dreams become reality, because you are really aiming very high. Supplementary, Honorable Matibiri.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for those exciting news around developments in our education sector. My question still centers on how Education 5.0 is responding to the aspirations and visions of our country, namely to make Zimbabwe an upper middle income society by 2030. Given the high teacher-pupil ratio prevalent in many of Zimbabwe's schools, in particular government schools, how feasible, Honorable Minister, is the evaluation of the acquisition of these critical skills that are necessary to transform our society, in particular, or for instance, the acquisition of critical thinking skills? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Senate President, I wish to thank Honorable Senator Matibiri for his question. In fact, he has asked what I had responded to when the first questioner asked the question on how we are going to realize an upper middle income society in Zimbabwe. Like I said earlier on, Honorable Senate President, education is a driver, is an enabler of economic growth and development. When we talk of an upper middle income society, we envision a Zimbabwe where the capital consumption, the capital income, which we can find by calculating the gross domestic product by the total population, we envision that the per capita consumption should be hovering around 7,000. For us to get to that point, it can only be achieved through the power of education. Education will equip our learners, we have critical thinking skills, because we have the resources. What I promise is not something, it's not a pipe dream, Honorable Speaker, Senate President. It's not a pipe dream. We are going to implement building new schools, building innovation hubs, ICT hubs, starting in September. By the time the third term will be opening, we'll be implementing all those new developments. We are going to build new schools, existing ones. We do refurbishments, renovations, and because we have aligned the heritage-based curriculum with the national vision, for us to have new developments, economic development, that can only be done through the power of education, because it has a transformative impact, positive impact in terms of the livelihoods of our people. We can only develop this country through the power of education, because we want universities to do some innovations, primary schools, secondary schools to come up with patterns. These will be, will give them support in form of starter packs, so that they don't remain designs, but they become real innovations which will develop our country, Zimbabwe. That's why we have our learners, they always exhibit these innovations so that they don't remain prototypes. We have quite a number of students in Zimbabwe. We have one student from Manicaland, Musikavan constituents, who invented the vehicle, Honorable Senate President. People may think we are lying, but we are telling us the truth. We have students who have discovered, irrigation infrastructure using their small phones. A student at Matora Nembe in the rural areas in March West, he discovered irrigation infrastructure can send some codes. Irrigation infrastructure located in Chinhoyi, 120 kilometers from here, can send commands through his phone and can send some signals, say, tap A, can you irrigate plot D? And that happens. Water would ooze out automatically because of the power of innovation. And that would change our livelihoods, because these are innovations. And we, like I said, we want our learners to think big, to dream of a better Zimbabwe. And that can only be changed through education. And in that way, we are able to realize the vision of the president earlier than 2030, I submit.
Thank you. Also in the chamber, Honorable P. Mavima, the Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, and his deputy, Honorable M. Ncube. Welcome, Minister. And Deputy Minister Ncube. Another supplementary. Time is running out and you keep on. Okay, supplementary, Honorable Zindi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a follow-up on the response by Honorable Minister of the innovations that he has informed this House by these pupils or students. Is there a policy on follow-up to fund such innovations so as to replicate and enable farmers to use such innovations? For example, the irrigation that he has just mentioned. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Senate President, I wish to thank Honorable Zindi for the question. Just 3 months ago, the Cabinet approved that 3% of the GDP of Zimbabwe will finance research and innovation. Innovation is one of the 5 pillars of the heritage-based education 5.0. So it means funding will be extended to students who introduce those innovations that are important. And in that regard, there is support going to be given to students, and it will cascade to farmers, to miners, to everyone. I submit.
Thank you. Next on my list is the Honorable Senator Ngwena.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My question is directed to the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure. How is the ministry addressing the increasing number of road traffic accidents, and what road safety programs are being implemented? I think.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. And let me also thank Honorable Senator Ngwena for that very important question, which is also disturbing. That quite a number of times I've been in this august house saying and appealing to the people of Zimbabwe that as we embark on a journey, we must take cognizance of the fact that we are not the only user of a particular road. There are also users that must be respected. And we have seen that the attitude, Mr. President, is disturbing of our motorists, where in terms of a UN report that we got, that about 94% is attributed to human error. And as much as we do our awareness programs through Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, and I'm again inviting this august house tomorrow, will be just a few kilometers from this point towards Mazoe, where we are launching our campaign for the Heroes Holidays. Appealing again to the people of Zimbabwe to say we must respect one another, make sure that we observe our rules when it comes to driving, and regardless of the fact that we've been advocating for this for years, we continue to see our numbers disturbing. Where we're talking of 5 per day, now we're talking of 7 to 8 per day. And these are fatalities that we record on the spot. What about those that will die as a result of road traffic accidents thereafter? So it's quite disturbing, Mr. President. And I do agree that we've been calling, but it calls for the whole of society approach, where we must be responsible. I've got my colleague, Minister here in our midst, Minister of Home Affairs. At times we say it's our police, at times we say it's our VID, but it goes beyond that, Mr. President. Where it is called, where we are calling for the change of attitude whenever we are driving, so that no one knows what will happen to you the next time you are on a road or you are on a journey. And this is happening, and we will continue blaming one another. But surely you see that no matter how someone is trained, the behavioral changes now, as a result of a number of factors, are now causing these accidents. And surely, whether they are public service vehicles, why would you then overload? Why would you then go beyond the restricted speed limit? So it's something that also calls again for us as legislators to say, let's take ownership, everyone, rather than to attribute to a particular department or to a particular ministry. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Supplementary, Mr. President.
Supplementary, Honorable Ndlovu.
Thank you very much.
Rita.
Mr. President, umbuzo wami uya ku-minister ukuthi yes siyabona ama-accident ayenzakalayo and ama-causes akhona maningi kakhulu, but iwari yami yi-problem yenkomo eziba semgwaqweni. Uwapha amalungiselelo eliwenzayo ukuthi inkomo zingabi semgaqweni, and like uminister sitsho ukuthi yi-attitude. Uzafika ukuthi kuyafaka iwaya along the roads kube lamagedi, but abantu bachiya amagedi ekhamisile, abantu bayekela inkomo zemgwaqweni. Kuyini umthetho bani ongafakwa ukuthi kubonakala ukuthi akula nkomo ezibonakala emgwaqweni? And again ungakhangela inkomo ukuthi ziba ngaphi, it's from Shangani usiya koBulawayo. Nxa usuka eShangani usiza eHarare akula nkomo esemgwaqweni. Angikwazi ukuthi uminister impendulo yakhe iyathini ngakhona lokho, ngoba yikho kwenza isikhathi esiningi kube lama accident along Bulawayo Harare Road. Ngiyabonga.
the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me also thank Honorable Senator Love for that question, which is disturbing again. We took a deliberate approach to fence our corridors, and people had to go by night vandalizing and stealing. Again, the kind of people we are as a nation is also disturbing, Mr. President. Where we are supposed to safeguard our infrastructure, you see people destroying our infrastructure. But this is our own infrastructure. And you've seen that wherever we do that, there is also legislation in place, which has been there time immemorial, to say you mustn't allow your cattle to stray. And if they do stray, a particular RDC or a local authority in that jurisdiction must confiscate the stray animals in auction. So it's very clear. And you normally see that farmers, they run away if there's an accident caused by a cattle. They know that there is a law in place. But we also appeal again to our people to say, why do you allow then your cattle to stray, especially during night? One, you actually cause losses in terms of our asset base as individuals and dangers to the motorists. So this is again that to continue raising awareness to our people that we must take charge of our cattle, and as much as drivers must exercise caution, but we must also make sure that we protect our infrastructure. We are doing that currently, Mr. President, where we had the Shurugwi-Mandamabwe New Road, and we've managed to fence it, Shurugwi-Mandamabwe. Now we are almost done on Mandamabwe to Chivi, making sure that we don't have, and we've agreed with villagers that this is our infrastructure. We must have committees to man and protect the fence. So this is again an appeal where we are continuing. You find that as we then construct our roads, we are having that provision to make sure that we fence. So you see, this is the model that we are adopting. But we cannot continue to fence and people stealing that fence. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I'll take another round of questions, even though there is only 2 minutes left. And it says follows: Kotora, Makamba, Katumba, Ndlovu Richard, Mlela Umlilo, yes, Senator Mpandi from Binga. Right. And Senator Gotora.
Ndatenda Mr. President nokundipa mukana huu. Mubvunzo wangu wakanangana na Minister we Home Affairs. Mutemo wataurwa na Minister we Transport Westray wemombe dzinopinda mumugwagwa. Chokwadi wakagara uriko. Ndingangodawo kuziva from the Minister of Home Affairs kuti vanhu vangani varidzi vemombe vati vambosungwa because mombe dzavo dzinenge dzakrosa mugwagwa dzaitisa accident vanhu vachifa. Pane vari kumbosungwawo here because haisi nyaya nyowani toziva kuti fenzi tiri kuba, asi kana mombe dzazopinda murodhi dzichiuraya vanhu ndingangoda kuziva kuti pane vari kusungwawo here varidzi vemombe vari kuita mombe dzavo kuti dzipinde kunouraya vanhu murodhi. Mazvita.
Honorable Senator Gotora, I think you want to withdraw that part where you say how many people have been arrested. Surely you don't expect the minister to give you a figure just like that. But are there any people who are being arrested for negligence in terms of allowing their livestock to roam freely? Are those cattle being impounded and are people being arrested? I think that's a fair question.
Mr. President, nokundigadzirira mubvunzo. ndo zvakachida chaizvezvo.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Can you please switch off your mic? Yeah. Minister?
Thank you, Mr. President, sir. And thank you for also coming to my rescue. Surely there was no way I was going to know the number of people that have been arrested, just offhand. But in any case, if the Honorable Senator still wants such numbers, it would be better to put that question in writing, and I'll get the official correct figures from the police. But having said that, Mr. President, sir, I would like to assure the Honorable Senator that everyone who commits crime is arrested in this country, for as long as the crime is known, reported, or observed. There's no one who's above the law. As to how many have been arrested in that regard, it's a bit too technical for my very small brain. But I promise to bring the answer should the August House require the answer. I so submit, Mr. President, sir.
Thank you. Order. Order. In terms of standing order number 67, time for questions without notice has expired. Honorable Mloswa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm appealing to your very good side, considering that today we have a lot of ministers. If you can extend the time for questions without notice, I thank you.
Who seconds?
I do second, Mr. President.
By how many minutes?
Mr. President, I would have preferred 30, but 15 would be okay.
30, up to 3 o'clock. I recognize the Honorable Senator Makamba.
Thank you, President of the Senate. Minister Mona, vangatipo ere update ne construction ye road ye Mukumbura ndoda Hondo highway. Uyezve mukutanga kwegore ndinoona ivo na Minister Kazembe vakambotaura nyaya yekuti kuri kuiswa makamera kune dzimwe nzira kuitira kuti zvibatsire kuona kuti nying'anying'a mugwagwa ndaanani. Vangatipo ere update yekuti zvaapapi zvemakamera izvo. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister.
Ndinotenda vanoremekedzwa mutungamiri wedare reSenate. Ndotenda zvakare vanoremekedzwa Honorable Senator Makamba. Mukanditendera ndichapindura bandiko rekutanga, rimwe bandiko repiri ndosiyirawo kune mumwe wangu Minister of Home Affairs kuti vange vachipindura nhau yemakamera mugwagwa medu. Ndoda kutenda zvikuru ndichiti mubvunzo wawasumudza wakakosha zvikuru. Uyezve ndinofara kuti mavhiki mashoma apfuura takaenda nacontractor wedu kuti anosimudzira basa sezvo angawana mukana wekuti ashande pachirongwa ichocho. Asi chandei chida kuvavimbisa ndechekuti haachangosimudzira chete, asi tiri kuona zvakare nekutsvakurudza kuti tinoona kuti bhodha patinodyidzana neMozambique tapavandudza sei. Saka ndinovavimbisa kuti mugwagwa wavataura wekuenda kuMukumbura uyo watinoziva kuti tasara nezvikamu zvinokwana kuita 23 kuti tinosvika kubridge tava kushanda. Uyezve ndichitenda kuti nekuda kwehomwe yandambotaura yamisikidzwa iye ndo mamwe zvimwe zvezvirongwa zvatinenge tichitarisira kuti nehomwe iyoyo hatisina chichatidzosa kumashure zvakare kuti tikamboshanda tombomira. Ndinotenda zvikuru mazvita.
Thank you. Second part about cameras, the Honorable Minister Kazembe.
Tinotenda mubati wechigaro. Ndoda kutenda zvakare Honorable Senator Makamba nemubvunzo wavabvunza kuti takambovimbisa kuti tichaisa makamera ongo. Takavimbisa, and Mr. President tiri kutoisa kuti atakwanisa kuita. Vakapinda mutawuni muHarare umu atovemo makamera kutosungirwa kuti atakwanisa kuita. Vakatendera nzira dzakawanda dzatove makamera. Makamera iwaya ndikatotora mukana uno Mr. President kuzivisa vagari vemuZimbabwe kuti hakuna mhosva iwori. Makamera akasungirwa arikutosungirwa iwaya akutobata mhosva. Vanhu vari kupinda vari drobots. Chatisati takwanisa kuita iko zvinozvi tamirira pari kutauriranwa pakati pepolisi netreasury netail 1 nekuti pakawiriranwa kuti panokuwana kwemari kana tail 1 yapedza kuisa makamera aya. Kuti zvitike izvozvo pakawirirana kuti mari iri kuenda bhengi ripi zvakazodini, izvozvo zvitogadziriswa. Asi makamera basa akutoita akazosungirirwa aya. Tinotori nelist yevanhu vese vakupara mhosva izvozvi nemavideo evidence pawakapinda hedropbot pawaifamba wakabata foni uchidhiraivha zvese zvatovepo zviri kungoungana nekuti mhosva haiori. Pazvinongopera izvi taakudzokera kumashure vese vakapara mhosva vose vakusangana nemhosva dzavo nekuti evidence yacho yese iripo. Saka ndinokumbira kuti Senator Makamba kana vapinda mutaundi muHarare vafamba vachingotarisa murodhi vatarise mudenga makamera avamo. Iyi phase 1 yatiri kuita, pane maphase 2 poita phase 3. Tichaenda kuBulawayo, tichaenda kwaMutare, kwese tichatenderera. Asi tinoda kwandiri kuita basa riri kuitwa, tinotenda.
Supplementary.
Supplementary, Senator Chapudza.
Ndoda kutenda mubato wechigaro. Ndoda kuti minister vatijekesere panhau yamakamera kuti iyo midziyo inoita kuti mota dzipfuure nokumiswa inombosvika painotadza kufamba zvakanaka. Saka dzimwe dzenguva rogona kuramba riri red risingadi kuenda kugreen, vanhu votoona kuti robot harisi kufamba zvakanaka, but kamera inenge ichizviwisisa here kuti iko zvino midziyo iyi haisi kushanda zvakanaka, nokuti iyo ichangoona ndichipinda pared robot. Dzimweni dzenguva nokuda kuwanda kwetraffic mapurisa ndoona anosvika paanombobatsiridza kuti zvinhu zvidini zviite zvakanaka. Kana voona zvavakuita zvakanaka pamwe pacho tombodzimbopindai riri red namapurisa vachitira kuti mota dzikurumidze kufamba. Kana vaona dzatapuka vobvawo pakati perodi. Zvino midziyo yedu yamakamera iyi ichange ichizvinzwisisa here nokuti tose topara mhosva. Tinotenda.
Honorable Minister.
Tinotenda mubato wechigaro. Ndoda hangu kutenda zvakare Honorable Senator nemubvunzo wavawedzera. Vataura kuti dzimwe dzenguva makamera aya marobots anogona kusachinja nenguva anofanira kuchinja. Asi kana ikaramba riri red risingachinja haisi mvume kuti chipinda, nekuti kamera zvainoita inongoona kuti robot ranga riri kuri red kwenguva yakareba asi wapinda. Kamera haizofungi kuti wangosika inongoziva kuti rikaita 5 minutes riri red asi wapinda. Asi chazvakanakira ndechekuda izvoni tiri kusedza pamwe chete nemamwe watingati pachiri kuma-stakeholders, ivo ministry vetransport kushanda pamwe chete, velocal government vagarwe tiri kushanda pamwe chete, city of Harare, kuitira kuti zvese zvishande pamwe chete zvidyidzane, nekuti ivo marobots afana vakashanda zvakanaka. Vataura nyaya yemapurisa dzenguva mapurisa anoti pindai, ndosaka paine kamera inozviona kuti mupurisa akutipinda, mupurisa aripo, kamera inorekodha, haingorekodhi zvongopfuura mubato wechigaro. That video footage inotochengetwa database kuitira mangwana. Pane yatinoti zvakare evaluation, nekuti system inongoona kuti wapara mhosva, but kuseri kune munhu manje vanoita authenticate decision yaitwa nemasystems kuti pane pasina kuparwa mhosva, system yakuti wapara mhosva. Secondly or finally, paunopuwa ticket kuti wapara mhosva, video inobva yatouyawo as evidence pafoni pako ipapo kuti mhosva wapara ndeiyi wapinda apa. So unokwanisa kushandisa iyo, nokuti kana wanzi wapara mhosva zvisi kunzi watonziwa kutoenda kujeri wakudini, une right yekuti aiwa handina kupara mhosva nechikonzero chakati chakati. Zvino zvinenge zvakuenda kukoti zvoonekwa kunzi pachishandiswa yatingati evidence yevideo iya, nekuti inenge iripo ndoziso racho. Ukati handina kupinda pamba nemupurisa, video inongoplayiwa yoonekwa kuti zvishopamba nemupurisa, iwe wacho unenge uinayo pafoni pako. Saka hakuna machinjirwa aingaitwa. Saka muchidimbu Mr. President, ndototi iyi teknoloji yakanakisa, anokuti haimwe doro, hairare, haite sei, hainyengerwe, inobudisa pachena zvawakaita musi wacho, haina corruption. Tinotenda.
Mazvita. I recognize the Honorable Senator Katumba.
Mazvita, Honorable Chair. Mubvunzo wangu uri kuenda kuna Minister of Home Affairs. Honorable Chair, ndoda kunzwisisawo kubva kuna Minister of Home Affairs nekuti tiri kubvunzwawo nevanhu totadza kuzvipindura kuti zvakambomira sei panyaya yekunzi mapurisa vaakusungira vanhu kuti uri kudhiraivha mota yeclass 4 iwe uine class 2. Saka da kunzwisisawo kuti zvakambonyatsomira sei kuti tigogona kupindura vari kutibvunza masvita.
Honorable Minister.
Tinotenda mubati wechigaro. Indandisati ndainzwa nyaya iyi asi ndinoitarisa. Ndinoizeya kuti chii chiri kuitika ndodzoka nemhinduro.
Thank you. The Honorable Senator Ndlovu Richard.
Ngiyabonga President of the Senate. Umbuzo wami uya ku Minister of Local Government. Umbuzo omdala usubuzwe kanengi but engabonakali. Umbuzo wami uqondana lobuduna chieftainship yakomahwatshu.
Order. The minister is struggling to get the right channel, so you better wait until he is online. It's channel 4, I think. Can you hear, Minister? Can you start all over again, Honorable Senator Ndlovu?
Ngiyabonga President of the Senate. The umbuzo wami uqondana lo Minister of Local Government. Yabuya ebantwini abaningi asombuzo omtsha umbuzo omdala. Ngibuza ukuthi imuli yakomahwatshu isimangele ukuthi kanti ubuduna lobu abupheli yini indaba bungakwani ngoba kwathunyelwa izinduna zeMatabeleland South Province njengenjwayelo ukuyahlala phansi lemuli yakomahwatshu. That was 5 years ago. Bahlala phansi babuza abakubuzayo kwaphela uzange kube lahlupho imuli yavumelana. Kodwa sekuthethe isikhathi eside bengezwa impendulo, bengezwa ukuthi kuhamba njani. Sesizwa ukuthi kuthiwa ngapha in the same area eduzane sekule creation of a chief. Yamase kuze bababili kwi creation but le ubuduna obukhona bungabonakala. Cela ukwazi ukuthi imuli ithi ifuna ukwazi ukuthi kuhamba njani uhulumende. Ngiyabonga.
Honorable Senator Ndlovu, that is not a policy question. It's a specific question. But if the minister is conversant with that, I'll give you the opportunity, Minister. But if you want to go and find out, it's perfectly in order because that's not policy at all.
Yes.
You can stand up and say that.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senate President. This is a very specific question which needs a lot of research. I request that the Honorable Senator puts it in writing, then we take it accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Senator Umlilo.
Ngiyabonga Mthungameli ukunikeza leli thuba. Umbuzo wami ngiuqondisa ku Minister of Local Government. Umbuzo wami umi kanje Mthungameli. Kulesikhathi sezulu izulu liyana kakhulu silamalokitshi amadala ilizwe lonke jikelele. Izulu lingana amanzi ayangena ezindlini. Engena ezindlini kunjalo nxa ubuzisisa kwabe council bathi kulemgelo emdala eyagejwa ngabo 1960 esigqibelekile. Mzamo bani abayenzayo njengohulumende ukuthi imgelo liyana igejwe kutsha ukwenzela ukuthi amanzi angangeni ezindlini. Ngiyabonga Mthungameli.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Senate President. Again, this is a very specific question. It refers to a specific location or specific city or town. I request that the Honorable Senator put it in writing so that we will zero down on that specific area where it's happening. Thank you very much.
Honorable Senator Mlilo, you are advised to put that in writing so that the Minister can bring proper question. I recognize Honorable Senator Mpande.
Ndalumba ikujana imwenya kuti ndambule mubufifi imubuzi wangu ulangene aminisa we wa mugwagwa iwangu mubuzi ulibo twakauma mupululu ntwabona kuti batalika ikubeleka mugwagwa we blawayo to foros but ikwalino obuno take chili kwenda pe ende imisana twanusuka misana kupera mumugwagwa kama mugwagwa ulifiti chili kwenda tachiope so imvula yamba kutalika kuwa kaba chiswini kaba kede mpao ndawo wani kupera ndigada kuti ndinguzise kuli minister twalumba.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me thank Honorable Mpande for that very emotional question. And indeed, it is a countrywide talking about Blawayo Victoria Falls Road. And if you remember very well, we started on that road from Bay Bridge to Blawayo to Vic Falls on a triple P arrangement, which we are still pursuing. And it was found that it is imperative to address the concerns of that road. And 8 contractors were awarded in terms of the tender, each contractor having about 50 kilometer stretch, to be precise 51 kilometers. And we resumed works mid last year, where we continued, and beginning of this year we've done about 57 or so. And in the last 2 weeks we have opened 14 kilometers, but this is a 440 kilometer road network. And the way we are going to be attending now is to attend to damaged sections, and the type of the model that we have adopted is not like we are reconstructing through the entire road network, but we are doing what we call chip and spray, where you find that it will move very fast than what we are doing at Rari Bay Bridge. So I want to assure again, Honorable Mpande, that yes, indeed, the project is sold, not necessarily that the contractors are demobilized, but they were on a go-slow to be actually correct. And some contractors have resumed, but in the next fortnight, you will see that all the 8 contractors would have fully mobilized. Again, the issues to do with funding, which I normally say, Mr. President, in most jurisdictions, when you pose questions to us as ministers, you must take us to account what you have given us as the Augusta House. To say we gave you money for this road, why are you not rehabilitating the road? But you find that in most cases, we go beyond that to think outside the box, so that we find, besides what you give us in this Augusta House. So if you would go to the Blue Book and see what was allocated, it's not even enough to rehabilitate that road. So this is another reason, again, why we need to continue thinking how we can mobilize funding. And I'm happy that now we have a solution, and you see that section is going to be covered. And we're also looking closely on the cross-dated to Binga, Honorable Mpande. So it's no longer going to be that road, cross-dated to Binga, and from Binga to Karoi, where we are inviting the private sector so that they participate in that entire road network. So these are some of the initiatives that we are doing. But yes, I do agree, the project is sold, but you'll be happy very soon where we have accelerated mobilization again. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Can I take another round of questions, if any? Honorable Senator Ndlovu, then Honorable Senator Chief Chikwaka, Honorable Senator Fanwell, Honorable Senator Zindi, Honorable Senator Moyo, in that order. Honorable Senator Ndlovu.
Umbuzo wami nguqondisa ku-Minister of Home Affairs. Ngicela ukwazi ukuthi ama-shrine, ama-provinces, ngubani owakhangelayo ukuthi akhangeleke njengama-shrines ama-war veterans, ngoba akhangeleka into akusegangeni, kuzimzamo bani enziwayo.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President, sir. And I would like to thank the Honorable Senator for the question. In terms of everyday maintenance and things, the shrines are taken care of by the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs. But you know, during National Heroes Day, normally there's a budget provided from central government for particular events related to the commemorations, but otherwise generally they are under the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs. Thank you.
Supplementary, Honorable Senator Zindi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is the Minister informing this House that there is a budget that is appropriated through the Minister of, the resident Minister, in order to take care of provincial heroes acres in this country? I thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President, sir. I believe there's that budget because as a ministry, we are responsible for the national shrine. That one falls under our purview. But maybe the assistance of the Minister of Local Government can assist. I'm not so sure. I submit.
Minister of Local Government, can you assist?
Thank you, Honorable Senate President. We don't have any budget from the Minister of Local Government specifically for that. But what we have is whenever we are conducting independence celebrations in specific provinces, and specific districts, there is an allocation to deal with such issues. And as we speak right now, we've got such for Mwenesi district, which is going to be allocated not to the Minister of State, but through Home Affairs. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I now supplementary.
Yes, President. President of the Senate, amangcwaba, ama-comrades, alula leli lizwe, ulisibe lapha namhlanje thina. Akula muntu owakhangelayo. Ama-widows esazicentela amangcwaba abomkabo. Kambe ngaye sikhona yini khonapha ngaye ayisibola abantu abotoma war veterans. I submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator Ndlovu. Although it's not a question, I think the Minister has taken note, unless he has a comment.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, yes, I've taken note, but as a ministry, we are equally concerned, and we've raised this issue with the Minister of Finance, and we believe that there will be a specific line, a budget line provided for this particular noble cause. But otherwise, I've taken note, and I'll also escalate it to my colleague minister so that a budget line is provided. I so submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I will not entertain another supplementary this time, so that will give others a chance, because I still have 5, including you, Honorable Senator Zindi. Let me recognize Honorable Senator Chief Chikwaka.
Mazita, Mr. President. Nditenderewo ndibvunze mvunzo kuna Minister of Local Government. Mr. President, mufaro wedu wekuti tiroda kutenda basa guru riri kuitwa mu Second Republic nemutungamiriri wedu, uye donzo rawo rekuti hakuna chasara kumasure kana nzvimbo inosarazve kumasure. Taida kungonzwa Minister wedu kuti vane urongwa upi maringe nenhau iri mumakadzi kare yekuti madzimambo akwanise kutongera mhosva dzavo munzvimbo dzine hunhu dzakadzikama dzakagadziriswawo, tisarambe tichienda munzvimbo dzemakanzuru nepasi pemiti. Uyezve vane urongwa hupi maringe nekubetseredza matambudziko atiri kusangana nawo ema-illegal settlements, nekuti kutaura kunoku nzvimbo dzatinotonga dzave kutinetsa nepamusana pekuti illegal settlement yave kutinetsa kukontrola. Saka vane urongwa hupi kuti vabatsirane nesu mumatare edu kuti zviro izvi zvive zvinokontroleka. Tatenda.
Honorable Minister.
Regai ndikutendei mubato wechigaro. Ndotenda zvakare vanoremekedzwa Seneta Mambo Chikwaka nemubvunzo wavabvunza. Mungada kuziva kuti dare rino reparamendi takagara pasi mwedzi wapera kuti titange chirongwa chekuvaka matare anotongerwa mhosva nemadzimambo mumadistricts mavanobva. Tichivaka izvozvo tiri kuvaka zvakare mahofisi anenge achishandiswa nema-members of parliament kulower house nemaseneta tiri kumadistricts ikoko. Tobva tavaka zvakare macommunity halls kunzvimbo dzimwe chete idzodzo. Patiri kuvaka izvozvo ipapo pari kubva pavakwa zvakare bhanga Empower Bank zvese newomen's bank ari kuvanga achivakirwa panzvimbo dzimwe chetezvo. Pari kuvakwa futi zvakare yatinoti presidential library inenge ine zvakawanda zviri kuitika munyika kubvira 1980 kusvika patasvika mumadistricts akasiyana siyana, zvichinyanyisisa kutarisira nhoroondo yekurwirwa nekusunungurwa kwakaitwa nyika ino. Chirongwa ichi hachisi pamapepa chete mubati wechigaro. Chirongwa chakatotanga masvondo mairi apfuura vakasarudzwa kuti vange vachitovakira vakatenderera nyika yese nemaofficials ekuministry kwedu vachiita yatingati pachirungu scoping, nekubva varakidzwa nemakanzuru nzvimbo dziri kuvakirwa nzvimbo idzodzi. Saka chirongwa chatotanga kubudirira chekuvaka matare emadzimambo tiri kumadistricts kwavanobva. Nyaya yechipiri yavataura inyaya iri kurwadza zvikuru, nyaya yevanhu vari kutengesa nzvimbo zvisiri pamutemo. Vanhu vari kutengesa nzvimbo zvisiri pamutemo vanosanganisira masabhuku. Masabhuku ari pasi pemadzimambo ari muno, maseneta madzimambo ari muno. Tinokurudzira madzimambo edu kuti vakomekedze masabhuku asatengesa nzvimbo, nekuti masabhuku ndo ari kutengesa nzvimbo. Ane chirongwa chatakatumwa nemutungamiri wenyika svondo rapera kuti itai press statement tichikomekedza kuti vanhu maland barons asatengesa nzvimbo zvisiri pamutemo. Masabhuku varisiya nezvavari kuti masabhuku deals. Tinotarisira kuti madzimambo pamwe chete nesu neministry yehome affairs nevamwe vese tishande pamwe chete kumisa chirongwa ichochi chaakuunza ma-illegal settlements, nekuti akuita kuti nzvimbo dzemadzimambo dzinge dzaane chimiro chemaguta. Mungada kuziva kuti mugoromonzi kwachinhamhora kudomboshawa hatingati tichiri kumusha ratoguta, tikaenda kwaseke zvimwe chetezvo. Asi vanhu vese vazhinji vacho ivavo vari kugariswa vachitengeserwa nzvimbo nevanhu vari mumaguta. Mungada kuziva zvakare bato wechigaro kuti mwedzi wapera takanga tine dambudziko kuHarare South panonzi paGilston. Gilston ipurazi rakapuhwa AFC kuti inge ichishandisa purazi iroro kuenda kumabhanga kunotora mari yekuti vange vachitenga mafertilizer nembeu dzekubatsira varimi vedu, kunyanya varimi vechidiki, kuti varimi vadiki vari kumaruva nekuma-resettlement areas. Nzvimbo iyoyo yakanga yatengeswa nevanhu vari kubva muguta raHarare vazhinji vacho. Kutengesa yese takaenda tikanovabvisa ikoko, asi hondo yatakasangana nayo yaibva kusanganisira vamwe vari mumba muno kuti muri kuzviitirei izvozvo. Izvozvi pane chimwe chiri kutendera changa chine munhu mukuru stereki anga achitaura kuti kana munhu achinge awaka imba yake paawaka regai musapwanya regai awake ipapo. Tikatendera izvozvo mubato wechigaro nyika ino yese inenge informal settlement. Saka hatikurudzire kuti utungamiri waonekwa vachikurudzira kuti vanhu rambai henyu muchitengeserana nzvimbo zvisiri pamutemo movaka zvisiri pamutemo. Inyika ine mutemo, inyika iri kutungamirirwa zvine mutemo zvinodadisa. Inoda kuti isusu vateedzeri vacho tinge tichigarawo mune zvinhu zviri pasi pemutemo. Mazviita.
Supplementary.
Supplementary. The last supplementary. Senator Chikwaka.
Mazvita, Mr. President, ndoda kutenda zvikuru chaizvo nemhinduro inozadza mukombe yapuwa naminister. Hatizivi kuti semadzimambo tingabatsira sei, Mr. President. Masabhuku edu ari kuita misarinya iyi. Isu takamamisa basa, tikamadzinga kuti mapara mhosva. Tinoita mapepa atinoendesa kuna ofisi ya DDC. Iye wanoendesa ku province, zvozosvika ku ofisi ya minister. Asi kutaura kuno, Mr. President, hatizivi kuti tinoita sei madzimambo. Masabhuku atakamisa iwawo nekuda kwemisarinya iyi kuti izova example kune vamwe vese vari kuita izvi. Hurumende iri kuramba ichivabhadhara kuti masabhuku isu takatoisa vamwe vanofanira kuti vabate basa vachiteerera vane kutya mutemo. Saka hatizivi kuti topaita sei kuti isu takamisa vari kuita misarinya asi hurumende iri kuramba ichirecognize ivavo vari kuita mabasa aya. Saka tobatsirana sei madzimambo nehurumende? Tatenda.
Honorable Minister.
Mazviita mubato wechigaro. Ndotenda Senator Mambo Chikwaka ndichikumbira zvakare kuti dai machitinyorera motipa mazita emasabhuku akamiswa iwayo nevari kutambira mariva kuti tikwanise kuenda nemagwara iwayo kuministry yefinance nekuti ndivo vanobhadhara. Isusu hatisisi tinobhadhara, tobva tagadzirisa nyaya yacho. Ndatenda.
Mazvita, in terms of standing order number 67.
Supplementary panyayo ndachikumbira.
Nguwa yapera munochenerwa munonasi makaita masabalimendarai. Chirongwa chihombe chiri kutera kumashure.
Asi inyaya iyoyi ndinenge ndaiona seyakakosha.
5 seconds.
Mazvita henyu mubati wechigaro. Supplementary yangu iri kuna minister. Tanzwa zvavataura. Zveshuwa nyika inofanira kunge iine murawo. Asi tiri kuti isisu local authorities avo vanogosirei vanhu vachivaka. Zvanga zvakadii kuti mubva madzivisa kana mukaona pava kuchero mobva madzivisa kuti iwewe zvino munosiya imba yovakwa 5 years munhu akagarapo kwakuzouya makuya muchisikoyi pai. Hamusi kuona here kuti tiri kukonzeresa kuti vamwe vanhu vafe because ndobva ndinenge pamwe ndokamari kanenge ndakawana ndavaka nokuti imi munhu wese anoda kuwana paanoyevaka. Matsotsi ariko yes, asi munhu anenge achida kuti awane paanoisa mhuri. Saka inini ndiri kuti hurumende kana kuti makanzuro avo anosiyireiko vanhu vachivaka dzimba dzimwe dziri kupwanywa munonzwa kurwadziwa imi ende vanhu ivavo vanenge vagara 5 years ari ipapo, 15 years aripo. Ende tinotori nemawo veterans vanotonzwisa tsitsi vakagariswa ipapo kare. Saka tiri kuti isisu zvanga zvakadii kuti hurumende nemakanzuro ayo ngavavhare kana mai hungwe vakunotobora tobora vovamisa mazvita.
Kuomberwa kwamaoko kuratidza kuti it's a popular supplement. I'm not sure whether you want to comment.
ukasiya vakadaro vanorasika. Mazviita mubato wechigaro. Ndoda kutenda Senator Hungwe neishu yawareisa. Mungada kuziva, dare rinongada kuziva kuti nzvimbo dzakagarwa nevanhu dzisiri pamutemo hurumende ikadziona yakati regularize. Tine chirongwa chekugadzirisa pachiwanhu, chekugadzirisa nzvimbo idzodzo, regularization policy. Zvanga zvakuitika ndezvekuti matsotsi anga akutengeserana nzvimbo nevanhu. Vonzi kurumidzai kuaka kuti muzouya muchiregularizwa. Izvozvo hatisi kunzwa tsitsi. Asi nzvimbo dzakagarwa dzirikutaurwa dzema-15 years dziri kuregularizwa. Nzvimbo dzakafanana naHarare South, kunana Caledonia, kunana Whitecliff, ndokuri kwamaregularization policy. Dziri kunyuka idzi kuzonzi kurumidzai kuvaka kuti muregularizwe. Hakuna regularization. Ende pachirungu vanoti mubato wechigaro, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Hakuna 2 wrongs dzinoburitsa answer yekuti zvakanaka. Kutenga zvisiri pamutemo nokuvaka zvisiri pamutemo hazvisi pamutemo. Kuvaka zvisiri pamutemo zvakare hazvisi pamutemo. Whether kanzuru yatadza kuuya kuzokumisa kana kuti yakumisa, hauende uchinoba uchiti ndagaindira mberi chiba nekuti mupurisa hasati anouya kuzorudza kuti uri kuba, unosungwa mutemo unokusunga. Mazvita.
Mazvita, Honorable Minister. In terms of order number 67, time for questions without notice is expired. We are getting into questions with notice. Question number 1 is deferred, the minister is not around. Question number 2 is deferred, the minister is not around. Question number 3 is deferred, the minister is not around. Question number 4 is deferred, the minister is not around. Question number 5, this one is for the Minister of Transport. Do you prepare the written response? We can accept it. Question number 6, Minister of Mines, if you had a written response, you can submit it because the convener of the question is not in. Question number 7, deferred, the minister is not around. Question number 8, the minister is not around, deferred as well. Question number 9, the minister is not around, deferred as well. Question number 10. Honorable Senator Mulachwa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Question number 10.
Honorable Minister.
Question number 10. Honorable Senate President say. Honorable Senator Mulachwa, to ask the Minister of Local Government and Public Works to apprise the Senate on the following. A, how many workers were engaged under the Rural Infrastructure Development Agency (RIDA) and other government programs to undertake infrastructure projects associated with the 2026 Independence Day legacy projects in Mapisa, Matovo district? And B, what amount was budgeted for labor costs and workers' remuneration under those projects? And C, to state whether all workers who participated in the construction work and the rehabilitation of schools, clinics, police bases and other public facilities have been paid in full. If not, how much is outstanding and how many workers are affected? Our response, Mr. Chairman, say, to question A, how many workers were engaged under the Rural Infrastructure Development Agency (RIDA) and other government programs to undertake the infrastructure projects associated with the 2026 Independence Day legacy projects in Mapisa, Matovo district? Our answer, the Minister of Local Government and Public Works and the Rural Infrastructure Development Agency (RIDA) engaged a total of 7,757 casual workers for the construction of the stadium, 40 science laboratories and various infrastructure development at Mahishe primary and secondary schools. The Minister of Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training, the Minister of Health and Childcare, the Minister of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture, the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, and the Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage implemented their respective projects through private contractors. Accordingly, information relating to number of workers directly engaged by these private contractors is held by the respective contracting entities. Question B, What amount was budgeted for labor, costs and workers' remuneration under those projects? Our response, Mr. Chairman, said, a total budget of 140 million Zimbabwe gold was availed by Treasury to meet labor costs associated with the implementation of legacy projects in Mapisa. To date, an amount of 70,178,216 Zimbabwe gold has been disbursed, leaving an outstanding balance of 70.75 million ZiG. Consequently, 7,757 workers received payment for work undertaken up to April 2026. However, construction activities continued beyond April 2026 in order to complete the outstanding works. As the remaining funds have not yet been released by Treasury, 513 workers are still awaiting outstanding payment for services rendered during this period. I now move to question C, to state whether all workers who participated in the construction and rehabilitation of schools, clinics, police bases and other public facilities have been paid in full. If not, how much is outstanding and how many workers are affected? Our response says, not all workers engaged in the construction and rehabilitation of schools, clinics, police bases and other public facilities have been paid in full for the reasons I mentioned on question B. Although the Independence Day celebrations have since been concluded, several legacy projects continued beyond commemorations. However, the outstanding budget has not yet been released by Treasury for us to be able to clear the payment of wages for the outstanding 513 workers referred. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Garwe. Question number 12.
It's question 11.
It's 11. Question number 12.
Thank you.
Number 11 has been deferred because the person who asked the question is not around, so you can submit if you have a written response. Yes. Honorable Senator Mlotwa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Question number 12.
Honorable Minister, Home Affairs.
Mr. President, may I ask to bring this later? I didn't know about this question, but I've got the response for the other question.
So you will bring the response later, not today?
Not today, sorry.
Thank you. I recognize Honorable Minister of Local Government. I recognize you, the Minister of Local Government.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no further questions.
To turn over all other motions and orders until order number 23 is disposed of. The chair. Honorable Minister Garwe, you could be excused. yatati yamadife 100.
Ayona dife 12.
Muno submit actually because muna kabvunza avo. So what do we do?
I'm not aware of it. What's supposed to happen? We're supposed to do the second reading of the biological toxins. But it's not going to get it. Let's check with the national research. If he wants me to do it, check to get. If you want me to do it for them, I can do it. Yes.
Just check.
I spoke to them.
What then?
If I need to help, I can help.
All right. I don't know what I'm doing with that. Honorable members, just be patient. We are verifying one or two things. Order. I recognize the Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sir. Honorable President of the Senate, I seek leave of the House to stand over notices of motions and order of the day, numbers 1 to 22 for today, until order of the day number 23 has been disposed of.
The Minister seeks leave of the House to stand over notices of motions numbers 1 to 22 until order of the day number 23 is disposed of. Is there an objection? If no objection, we go to order of the day number 23. The clerk reads order number 23.
Second reading, Biological Weapons and Toxins Weapons Crimes Bill, HB 9A of 2025.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sir, I rise to present the second reading speech of the Biological and Toxin Weapons Crimes Bill, HB 98, 2025. This bill presents a historic opportunity for Zimbabwe to fully domesticate and give legal effect to the Biological Weapons Convention, BWC of 10 April 1972, to which Zimbabwe acceded to on 5 November 1990. The convention categorically prohibits the development, production, stockpiling, acquisition, retention, and deployment of biological agents, toxins, and weapons as instruments of warfare. Mr. President, sir, the Ministry of Defense currently administers the Chemical Weapons Prohibition Act, Chapter 1118, which domesticated the Chemical Weapons Convention in 1998 and outlawed chemical agents as weapons of war. Given the deep technical and legal commonalities between these two regimes, this bill seeks to harmonize our national oversight. It consolidates administration under a single unified national advisory committee, optimizing regulatory resources and eliminating institutional fragmentation. Furthermore, the bill recognizes and preserves the contemporary roles of existing institutions, complementary roles of existing institutions. It expressly recognizes the Environmental Management Agency established under the Environmental Management Act, Chapter 2027. Under Clause 14, inspectors and analysts will be drawn from EMA, health bodies and other specialized state institutions to prevent, detect, and investigate offenses. This collaborative framework ensures that enforcement builds directly upon established domestic expertise, promoting seamless interagency coordination. Mr. President, sir, biological weapons consist of disease-causing organisms or toxins deliberately deployed to harm humans, animals, or plants. The statutory framework strictly regulates dangerous pathogens, including pathogenic bacteria, viruses, and naturally occurring toxins. Our own history and contemporary public health landscape underscores the devastating potential of these agents. Anthrax, for instance, is a deadly bacterial agent that was weaponized during the liberation struggle to decimate cattle populations in rural communities. Decades later, Zimbabwe continues to battle sporadic anthrax outbreaks directly linked to that historical contamination. Another example, Mr. President, sir, is the infestation commonly known as Matekenya. This debilitating infestation caused severe physical suffering amongst our freedom fighters and remains a persistent public health concern in several districts. Lastly, high-consequence pathogens like smallpox and Ebola carry the potential of catastrophic loss of life, whilst deadly toxins such as ricin can be easily processed and weaponized to sabotage livestock and human populations alike. Mr. President, sir, allow me now to highlight the core legislative pillars of the bill. Clause 4 criminalizes the development, production, manufacture, possession, stockpiling, acquisition, retention, importation, exportation, re-exportation, transportation, transit, transshipment, transfer, or use of prohibited biological agents and toxins. The clause prescribes stringent penalties, including mandatory imprisonment of not less than 10 years and substantial fines for individuals and corporate entities. Clause 5 designates the secretary responsible for defense as the responsible authority for the administration of the Act. The secretary will be assisted by the expanded National Advisory Committee established under the Chemical Weapons Framework, ensuring scientific, technical, and strategic continuity. Clause 6 establishes a transparent licensing framework for biological agents and toxins intended strictly for curative, protective, and diagnostic research or other peaceful purposes. This guarantees that our medical professionals, agricultural scientists, and academic researchers are protected and regulated rather than criminalized. Clause 18 provides for the extraterritorial application of the Act, enabling Zimbabwean courts to exercise jurisdiction over specified offenses committed outside Zimbabwe where, at the time of the alleged offense, the person was a citizen of or domiciled in Zimbabwe or was otherwise amenable to the jurisdiction of Zimbabwe. Clause 31 introduces consequential amendments to the Chemical Weapons Prohibition Act, Chapter 1118. These amendments will broaden the mandate of the National Advisory Committee to include oversight of biological agents and toxins. The committee's composition will be expanded to include expertise from relevant ministries and specialized institutions in the fields of defense, foreign affairs, health, environment, higher and tertiary education, biosecurity, and industrial sciences. Mr. President, sir, the enactment of this bill will anchor 4 critical national benefits. First, global cooperation. It unlocks full compliance with Article X of the Biological Weapons Convention, BWC, enabling Zimbabwe to seamlessly access global scientific knowledge, technology, technical assistance, and equipment for peaceful epidemiological and emergency responses. Second, enhance defense capacity. The bill will strengthen national security by criminalizing activities associated with biological weapons, including their development, possession, financing, and use. It will significantly enhance Zimbabwe's capacity to detect, prevent, and respond to biological and toxin-related threats. Third, emergency preparedness. The bill strengthens the national biosafety and biosecurity standards, directly improving our emergency preparedness for laboratory incidents, environmental contamination, and natural disease outbreaks. Lastly, the bill establishes a transparent, regulated environment that safeguards responsible scientific research, ensuring that advanced biotechnology is utilized exclusively for peaceful, therapeutic, and economic progress. Mr. President said the benefits arising from this legislation are substantial. Above all, the bill safeguards human life, protects our livestock and agricultural economy, preserves environmental integrity, and shields our national security. Furthermore, it cements Zimbabwe's standing as a responsible, rule of law abiding member of the international community. In light of the foregoing, I commend the Biological and Toxin Weapons Crimes Bill, HB 9A 2025, to this august House and respectfully urge honorable members to support its passage. I therefore move that the bill be read the second time I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The question before the House is a motion by the Honorable Minister of Defense that the Biological and Toxin Weapons Crimes Bill, HB 9A 2025, be now read a second time. Is there any debate? I recognize Honorable Senator Moyo.
Thank you, President, to give me this opportunity to raise today for this bill before the House of the Biological and Toxic Weapons Crimes Bill. I speak as the Senate, I speak for the farmers, the traditional healers, and the ordinary families from all the provinces, most in Matebele and South. What this bill does, it stops Zimbabwe from developing, making, and keeping moving or using dangerous biological agents, toxins, and biological weapons. It brings into our law two old international agreements, the 1972 Biological Weapons Convention and the 1925 Geneva Protocol. Those agreements ban gem warfare and the poison gas. Zimbabwe already signed from as a nation among other nations. It creates a license system. Anyone who wants to keep or use a biological agent or toxins for a good reason, such as medicine, farming, and research, must first get a license from the Secretary for Defense, called the Responsibility Authority in the bill. Mr. President, it creates a heavy punishment. Anyone caught with any unlicensed biological agents or with biological weapons face a minimum of 10 years in prison or a heavy fine or both. A company can be fined up to 5 times the highest court fine. It gives inspector powers to enter homes and businesses, questioning people such and seize property. In some cases, they may do this without a warrant, Mr. President. It creates a chain of appeal, first to the minister, then to review board, then to the administration court. It also amends the Chemicals Weapons Act to widen the power of the National Authorities Vice Committee. Mr. President, on this surface, this looks like a good bill. No honest Zimbabwean want gem weapons in our country. We support Zimbabwe honoring its international promises, but Mr. President say the details tells a different story. When I read this bill carefully, on the behalf of the people of Mat South, I found a real flag that this House cannot ignore. The first one, red flag number 1, a bill written in a hurry. Mr. President, a law that can send an innocent person to prison for 10 years must be written with great care. Yes, this document is full of mistake. Clause 4 speak on of imprisonment. Clause 9 speak on it's a fine instead of a fine. Clause 15 lists 2 different paragraphs, both marked paragraphs G. Clause 15 to 9 even reference to itself. Subsection 9, which cannot be correct, Mr. President. If we, the lawmakers, cannot get the small words right, how can we expect the villages in Rwanda to understand exactly what is the law demanded of them? Red flag 2, 10 years minimum, no mess for ordinary people. Mr. President, clause 4 says that anyone processes an unlicensed biological agent or toxic, even it is very small amount, must go to prison for not less than 10 years. 10 years, sir. The court is not even allowed to suspend a single day of that sentence, Mr. President. Now, honorable members, think about our people in the provinces like Mat South. We are Kekli people. We keep crows. We use deep chemicals, vaccinates and herbal medicine handed down from our grandparents. For our cattle and for our own bodies, the bill defines biological agents to take so widely that it includes any substance suspected to be one suspected, Mr. President, not proven suspected. If a rural inspector acting on his suspicion alone find an unlicensed herbal, remind or a veterinary substance in home state in Bulilim, must our grandmother face 10 years in prison with no description left to the judge? Yes, clause 4.2 offers a small defense, but the bundle falls on the accused person to prove their innocence, not on the state to prove guilt. Our people, many of whom cannot read the government gazette, must now hire a lawyer they cannot afford, or risk 10 years behind bars. Mr. President, that is not justice. That is a trap set for the poor and the unwary. Red flag number 3, no real plan to teach our people. Mr. President, nowhere in this bill do I see a serious plan to teach our people in our own languages, Ndebele, Kalanga, Tonga, Venda, and the 16 languages. What cost as a biological agents, what need a license, and what the penalties are. Clause 30 gives people only 12 months after the law starts to license what they already lawfully processed. 12 months, Mr. President, for a law that most villages will never even hear about, written in legal English. They were never taught. We cannot legislate in the dark for people who deserve light. Red flag 4, Mr. President, too much power in one office, too little accountability. Mr. President, this bill has too much power to a single office. The Secretary for Defense, he decided to get a license. He decided who lose one. His inspectors may enter a home without a warrant if they simply believe there is a danger. Then clause 27 shield the responsibility authority, the state, and every inspector from being sued unless the harmed citizen can prove bad faith or negligence. That is a very high hole for any ordinary citizen to climb. We have seen again and again in this very chamber how power without accountability is abused in our country. This bill risks repeating that same story. Red flag 5, a heavy claim those states cannot afford. Mr. President, the bill creates a national register, a national authority advisor committee with more than a dozen members drawn from many ministers, a mix of spectators and analysis, a review board appointed through the national political authorities, and the LRP brought through administration court. This is a heavy structure. Yet this government cannot keep our rural clinics stocked with the basic medicine. Bulilima Rural District Council still strive to deliver clean water to its own people. Where will the money come from? The scientists and the labor come from to run this biosecurity machine? Are we building another paper law strong in the government gazette but silent on the ground in Plant and the Bedbridge and Mass South and the whole Zimbabwe? Red flag number 6, the real rules are left for late behind closed doors. Mr. President, unlike the Chemicals Weapons Act, which lists exactly chemicals in the exact quantities, this bill does not clearly list which biological agents are covered or in what amount. Clause 28 leaves this to the minister to decide late. But regulation, this means we are being asked today to approve 10-year prison terms of law whose really boundaries will only be drawn tomorrow by the minister alone without returning to the House. Mr. President, that is not how good law is made. What we ask for the House and the minister to do, that's the suggestion, Honorable Minister. Mr. President, we are not against Zimbabwe honoring the Biological Weapons Convention. We are not against any gem weapons. Our concern is how this bill will land on the shoulders of the ordinary Zimbabweans, especially our rural people who did not draft this law and will not easily understand it. We therefore propose the following, Minister. First, correct every drafting error before this bill comes law. A law that removes a person's freedom for 10 years must be written without mistake. To give our courts really dispositions, judicial officer not did the formula should decide the first sentence for a first time. Law risky offender women no harm. Number 3, remove the burden of proof where the amount found is small and clearly for household, farming or medicine use. The state should carry the heavy duty of proving criminal intent, not the poor village. Number 4, fund and run a nationwide education campaign in all 16 of our languages before the 20-month grave period even begins to run, so that no citizen is punished for law they never had a fair chance to learn. Number 5, publish clear, specific list of covered agents and quantities in the bill itself or in a scheduled debate by this House, rather than leaving this entirely to future regulations. Strengthen the right of citizens to seek redress when officially misuse those new search and seized powers instead of shielding the state so heavy from elite. Number 7, match this new law with the real resources for our Minister of Health, our environmental management agents, and our rural clinics before we criminalize our own people for gaps that the state itself has failed to close. My closing remarks, Mr. President. Mr. President, the people of Matebele and South did not send me to this House to rubber stamp laws that sound good in this House in Harare, but beat hard in Bulili. They sent me to ask the hard question, to really define print and to make sure that in the name of fighting biological weapons, we do not end up criminalize our own grandmothers, our own cattle farmers, and our own traditional healers. Let us fix this bill before we pass it. Let us protect our nation from real political threats within turning our own poor and rural people in the first victims of this law. Thank you very much. I move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator Moyo, for your contribution. Any further debate? Honorable Senator Mackenzie.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank again the Minister of Home Affairs for bringing this bill to this House. My understanding of this bill, Mr. President, is that it prohibits the development, the manufacture and stockpiling of biological weapons which are harmful to the citizens in terms of biosecurity. It also criminalizes the possession and acquisition of such biological weapons, and it prevents organizations which may be inimical to this country to bring in such biological weapons and toxins for the purposes of harming the citizens, not for curative purposes. Mr. President, what I was going to ask the Minister is where, particularly for inspection purposes and microbiologists, have we been in a position to train experts along those lines? Because this is not just to criminalize a herbalist who is actually doing their trade. It's for biosecurity, for the security of the country. So it actually places Zimbabwe at par with other countries, so that there is no import of weapons of a biological nature like anthrax. And we have seen this happening in other countries, maybe a portion of Gaza, where some biology is actually against the Geneva Convention. So it's supposed to be criminalized in this country. In terms of such biological weapons, I think the Minister was very clear. Anthrax bacteria, and some of these were actually used during the liberation struggle. They were not used for cure. The idea was to disseminate. It's debilitating once it touches your skin, and you live with it for a long time until it kills you. Smallpox vaccine. Of course, there are specific medicines which have been scientifically developed to fight some of these where they happen naturally, because they can also happen naturally. The bill does not prohibit legitimate medicinal or veterinary or scientific research. Instead, it distinguishes between peaceful and hostile uses by requiring appropriate authorization and licensing. It's the procedure of licensing which maybe we need clarity on. Why should something which is being used for hostile purposes be licensed? Maybe some of these researched viruses could also be used in a good way. That's why they may need licensing. But we need experts in terms of regular inspections. But the bill enhances Zimbabwe's cooperation
with other countries in terms of preventing biological terrorism and bioweapons proliferation, which is very important as a country. So this is something which we should support as senators. It's not to micromanage a small herbalist living in Cholocho. Not at all. I think it's a misinterpretation of the bill. That is my understanding, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Senator M. Mule. You will agree with me, honorable members, that this bill is an important one, that we cannot just rush through today. I feel we need more time to debate it extensively. And on that note, with the powers vested in me, I will recognize Honorable Minister Kazembe to adjourn the debate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sir, I move that the debate be adjourned.
It has been moved that the debate do now adjourn. Is there any further debate? I put the question that the debate be now adjourned. Those who of that opinion will say aye. Those of the contrary opinion will say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is accordingly affirmed, and the debate is adjourned. To what day, Honorable Minister?
To next week, Mr. President. Sir.
To next week. I also recognize the Honorable Minister to adjourn the House.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sir. I now move that the House be adjourned.
It has been moved that the House do now adjourn. Is there any further debate? I put the question that the House do now adjourn. Those who of that opinion will say aye. Those of the contrary opinion will say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is accordingly affirmed. And the House is adjourned. To what day, Honorable Minister?
To 1 September, Mr. President. Sir.
The Senate is adjourned to 1 September. I wish you a safe journey, honorable members.